There's a few things that make us unique. We live and breathe construction-specific software every day, and so that just means that we can speak the contractor's language. Our staff is deeply experienced with financial management and/or construction experience, so we know what you do on a day-to-day basis. And also, we're local in the areas that we serve, so we're familiar with the things that are going on in your area. The green states are the areas that we primarily serve, and the blue dots are where we have office locations. But we have people all over pretty much all over different parts of the country that we work with. I'm not going to go through all these products up here, but as you can see, we do represent a variety of solutions, and not all of them are listed here. But with these solutions and others, we have over 4,000 active clients throughout the United States and Caribbean islands. Now, when we talk about Sage, North America, and construction, construction is the largest vertical segment for Sage in North America. More than 50,000 construction companies, not businesses, but companies, use Sage in North America today. And as you can see, more and more companies are choosing Sage to use it for their accounting and operations software. On to the next slide here, a little bit back to Alliance Solutions Group, the right fit. We work with the gold standard solutions for estimating job costs, project management, et cetera, that are used by leading construction and real estate businesses. On the next one, the right people, we're 100% construction focused, and I told you a little bit about some of our folks, but former CPAs, project managers, people that just understand the industry and they know what you're going through. And right next door, like I said, we worked with over 4,000 customers. We're active in associations in areas where our folks are, and it's just it's nice to be able to see somebody face to face when needed. So our approach, it's a consult, solve, and deliver approach. First, we work with you just to help identify where you're being efficient, and then drawing on our wealth of experience, we'll go ahead and make some recommendations on how to solve any issues, any problems that you're having. And then finally, we deliver by providing full documentation for the implementation process, everything to ensure a smooth and efficient and timely go live. Values that we provide, I'm not going to go through all of these, but everything we do, it's all to help your business be more successful, be more organized, limit your risk, and so on. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass controls over to John. And John, you are now the presenter.
Oh, as soon as I hit show my screen, and if everything is going well, you guys should see a PowerPoint up on your screen right now. And oops, I've got these new version of PowerPoint. You got to pick which screen you want everything up on. Good grief.
There you go.
Does it look good on your
power? Yeah, all I see is your PowerPoint right now, John.
Okay, I got. All right. So just so everybody is aware, this is John Hamm. I have been, in one way or another, involved in the construction technology business, golly, since the late 70s, believe it or not. And so I've been around the block. I've seen all kinds of systems, both ones that I sell and our competitive systems. And what I'm going to try and impart on you guys today is, how important integrated construction systems are. And you could argue that all systems should be integrated. I wouldn't argue negatively on that, but there are a lot of things here, and I'm going to touch not only on the project management integration, but also on the integration within all kinds of modules, and we'll focus a little bit more on project management. We're going to run through a reasonable number of slides. I'm going to try and do this relatively quickly, and then we'll bring up a few of the products and show you some of the things that come along with integration so that you can feel very comfortable that, our world, we deliver those kinds of things. But I hope what you can take away from the webinar is things you should look at in any product that you want to use going forward. So that being said, as Tim has already said, you've seen our locations. I'm going to go ahead and move to the next screen. And wanted to real quickly let everybody know that we speak with some level of authority in that the market recognizes us as the #1 product out there for both accounting, job costing, and for project management software. These surveys are done, I think, every other year by the Construction Financial Management Association, and very rapidly we have risen. I shouldn't say rapidly, we've been at this for about 40 years. We've been in the #1 spot, and one of the reasons we're there is because we do a fine job of integrating products. I also like to point out the products we sell are ranked by other organizations as well, and their reviews done by CPA Technology Advisor gives us 5 out of 5 stars on all of these items within their ranking system. Now, moving on, real quickly, I'm going to jump right into what are the advantages of an integrated system. Excuse me, I've gotten this little tickle in my throat, doesn't seem to want to go away. The no duplication of entry. That is, something you hear very often. Oh, I've keyed information into QuickBooks, and now I have to key it into Excel too. Fully integrated systems can let you touch a piece of information one time, but it's not the only reason that you want an integrated system. You want integrated systems because, among other things, it's going to give you instant access to all of the data, typo there, entered into your system. It's going to allow, for instance, within job cost, for you to see information about what is the cost on the job. You see that immediately. What are our production numbers if we're tracking production of our people? Can we project the correct cost at and cost to completion? Again, as soon as we put numbers in the system, we can see those things. We can instantly see the status of all subcontractors and purchase orders, and those may be driven partially out of various other systems, whether that's accounts payable or contracts or purchase orders. Those systems are fully integrated with job cost and other modules, and you see the pieces of information you need to see immediately, regardless of where they start. And of course, there's a lot more stuff within job cost we're going to see. Now, I'm going to run through a couple things in financial information. You can instantly know your cash position. You know your profit position at all times. And of course, we can generate certified payroll reports, which are required on certain jobs. Now, again, I'm not building a comprehensive list here. I'm just kind of picking items out of the air so that you can have a feeling of some things you're going to get. There's certainly a much longer list that we can go on and on. Related to your billing process, what are all, what all job cost data is instantly available for billing processes. I can't tell you the number of times I've had people tell me about standing at copy machines and making copies of invoices and keying them into an Excel spreadsheet and then marking them up in some fashion. Again, an integrated system lets you put your invoices in and your time cards, and you'll be able to justify the billing that you're doing on your AIA G703 form, your percentage completion. You'll be able to generate a time and materials billing seamlessly without much effort. Same thing with doing cost plus type work. And most important of all is you make sure that all change orders get billed. I'm in project management. I generate a change order. Can't tell you the number of contractors I've talked to who told me how many thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars they've lost on projects because the job was over, they closed it out, and then I realized there were some change orders that they could have billed for that weren't done. If you have a good integrated system, those things don't fall through the cracks. Now, continuing on, you're going to have instant access to all reports and information in the format the way you want to see it. Okay, accounts payable, billing, job cost, information all in the same report because we're dealing with a integrated system. The modules all talk to each other, know how the data relates to one another, and then makes it easy for us to pull that information out. I'll give you some examples of some of that stuff when we get into the product in a little bit. Excuse me. So, most important of all is you can make all decisions, large and small, with confidence that you have reliable and complete information on which to make these critical decisions. I've always said most people can make good decisions when provided appropriate information that they're confident in. If you see a problem here or there, if you know that number's right, you can see the trend, then you can make a decision to resolve that. If you don't have good information in hand, then you're going to shoot from the hip. You're going to just kind of make a best guess. It may be good, and more times than not, it's bad. Now, important points you should look for in any integrated system, any fully integrated system. Obviously, this goes without saying on all software products, and including fully integrated ones, you need to have something that's easy to use. Ease of use is a relative term depending on the task at hand, and some systems have a lot of features, and if as the features rise, you need to make sure that the complexity doesn't rise geometrically compared to the feature set. You obviously want to make sure that you integrate with other applications, not only within your system, but maybe outside applications like Excel and Word. You want to make sure that you're touching receivables, billing, job cost, so on. There can be any number of places you want these things to connect. You want professional looking documents. If I'm going to have a fully integrated system, people say things like, well, gee whiz, I use Word and Excel because I can make it look pretty. Well, we can integrate those products. You still make it look pretty, but you don't have to rekey any data. Proactive reminders and emails in any system. If you've got, again, full integration of data moving around, you can have multiple notices coming from multiple systems based on things that you need to be warned and or told about and or reminded about. Of course, I mentioned Outlook and Word and Excel integration earlier. And one of the things that I think can be somewhat overlooked, by nature, companies of certain sizes kind of do this on their own. You don't want systems overloaded with excessive, the magic word here is, and I should have underlined it, is unused features. So in our world, we sell a couple of different levels of systems. And what's appropriate for a $2 or $3 million a year contractor would not be appropriate for a $100 million a year contractor, and vice versa. Trying to put in a system that we might sell to a $100 million a year contractor into a $2 or $3 million a year contractor's environment is going to burden them with unused features that slow down the system and make it hard to use, even though it's fully integrated. That being said, let's talk just briefly about integration and what's going on. The system is our system, the Sage 300 system, formerly known as Timberline, has a whole bunch of modules. And as you might guess, everywhere you can think of that we can connect them in terms of passing information, we do so. I'm not going to read down that full list of modules. Most folks on the call have good eyes, but it's important to understand that as I key information in accounts payable, it's hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 and 8 different places within an integrated system. And you want to have tools like report designers and so forth. They can take advantage of data that is moved from system to system to give you reports that are easy to look at and provide you the information, again, that helps you make those decisions the way you need to. Now, moving on, how do the systems interface is a question you want to ask every vendor when you're looking at software. We'll talk a little bit more about this when we get into the product itself. And do you have a direct update? You know, well, let's say the Sage products have direct updates, which means you don't have to worry about other methods or manual methods. You know, is it an automatic or manual update? Again, within our world, we let you choose which way you want to operate. And does it cross, or is it just within a certain application? A lot of products outside will have what they call a file transfer, where it'll move a comma delimited file from system to system. You know, not a bad way to go if you're doing something on an extremely rare occasion, you know, once a week or once a month. But if it's something you're doing every single day, you don't want to be moving files. Application program interfaces, usually written by the vendor, is a very seamless way for information to flow back and forth. Again, I'm not going to drive through explaining every one of these, but as you talk to your vendors, you'll want to ask the questions about how the data interfaces and what you have to do to make it interface, whether there's any special steps or processes you have to run. And of course, last but not least, is even within integrated products, there's sometimes a control question. Who has the right to update, let's say, accounting information? Does that right reside with a project manager who's writing a change order or a purchase order, or does it reside with the accounting department? And I can tell you most accounting departments want it to reside with them. And what you want to do is make sure your vendor has appropriately built controls in that lets you decide, you know, who's going to be in control, or make sure that the vendor is following the process that you would like to use in terms of who manages that data. Now, real quickly, in our project management side, you'll see a lot of information: transmittals, submittals, RFIs, meeting minutes, correspondence logs, drawing logs, custom logs, change order processing, automatic notification of past due items, AIA billing. Guess what? Those bottom items all deal with integration points. If I write a change order, there are 3 different places that it may need to go. It may need to go upstream to the owner's billing, and so that we can, when we generate the billing, we can track that. Obviously, we want to, at the center of the world as the contractor, you know, track what the costs and the revenue were associated with that change order. And of course, downstream, particularly if we're dealing with material suppliers or subcontractors, we want to be able to push information downstream to them and not have to rekey information into the system. And we want this information all linked from top to bottom. You know, automatic notifications of what's going on in the system is a point of integration. Obviously, as I do billings in the system, it's going to be based off of, you know, how far I've progressed in the job, what my percent completes are, what my cost of completions are at this point. So now, no conversation about integration would be complete without a conversation about the cloud today. Everything I've talked about up to this point has been primarily client-server, which means it resides primarily on a server and is primarily run on a computer connected to that server in some fashion. That server may be virtual, that server may be up in a data center, sometimes referred to as a cloud, but it is a client-server based application. There are a myriad of products today that have come out that are now cloud-oriented so that different people can access and do certain tasks in the field. And what's important is that while they're doing those tasks in the field, you can guess it, we want integration back to the rest of the system. And I could have done some fancy diagrams, but largely in the software as a service applications, I do data in the field on an iPhone or an iPad or an Android device or maybe a notebook computer through some type of web interface. And as I key that data in, it runs up to some servers in the cloud that the vendor takes care of. And then that information is then streamlined and updates information in your server with the rest of your software. So just to let you know, Sage has a series of products available. Sage Service Operations for our folks who do service work orders, dispatch. Our technicians can key information in the field, and it updates all of our billing information and related components in the system. Sage Paperless Construction allows us to have various documents available at our fingertips, stored and easy to get to. Sage Construction Project Center is a completely web-based project management system. Today it has just been released and it is standalone, but we will interface it to Sage 300 this fall. They're in progress on that right now. Of course, there will be a bid management system which will again integrate with that system. Sage Construction Anywhere is one of many products that captures time or gives you access to remote reports through the cloud. TimberScan, an invoice capture, routing, and approval system, is about to come out with their web-based version. And of course, you can look at any of these applications and ask the question, do they operate online or offline? And online means you've got to have an active internet connection for it to operate. Offline means that I can capture certain data, and if I'm in an area without any connectivity, as soon as I step back into the connectivity, it will take that data and flow it back to my server. So there are a myriad of questions to be asked at many levels in the process. We think we do this better than most in terms of our abilities to handle the integration points both on-premise and in the cloud. Now, there are a number of different ways that you can look at cloud-based services, and we want to connect to, in our cloud-based services, anybody you go talk to, you want to make sure their cloud product is connecting to your on-premise product. Mostly in today's world, the cloud products have largely been focused, not exclusively, but largely focused on operational areas. If you go back to that previous screen I was on, you'll see this is all operations. There's not any accounting going on right here. All these various companies are continuing to roll out more and more features and expanding the feature set. Many times these services can be offered on a standalone basis. You lose that integration point. You need to make sure you understand what is going to connect and what is not going to connect. And of course, we design cloud software, believe it or not, a little differently, because you're usually standing out in the traffic in the car or somewhere where things are very busy. So it needs to be easy and very intuitive with the complexity engineered out of the process. Now that all being said, I'm going to jump into the product for a few minutes and show you a few things related to integration, and then as we move forward, excuse me, we can let's see here. Gotta get the. If you have any open questions, let me move this over here. It's not going to move. Very interesting. I know what happened. I don't know whether this is going to throw everybody off. Ran into this problem the other day. Okay. Okay, so if we come into the Sage desktop, I apologize for my little move there. This is one way where you can see a number of pieces of information fully integrated within the system. I'm at a screen that I might log into, and as data comes into that screen, it's going to be updating any number of different fields in the system, and I can at any point just press one button to refresh all of the data. What's going on profit-wise on my jobs, what's going on billing, what's going on. I'm on the same screen. Show me what's going on in accounts payable. Show me what's going on in accounts receivable and who owes me money. Show me how much money's in the bank account. Right here, we've just looked at 5 applications all in one screen. I may want to look at simple things like a billing summary. You know, I got contract amounts here. I've got what billing has taken place. I've got what cash has come in the door. I'm back to what has been billed. So we're reading across multiple applications in an integrated format. In a receivables format, I may quickly look at, you know, job information is when everything was billed in what is 30, 60, 90. You know, I may want to see, you know, by job what checks have been paid. Again, very simple. You would think very simple reports, but without integration, you're not going to have those components. Again, we're not going to drive through all of these. I want to drill down a little bit further on system here, and I want to open up. I'm in accounts payable. I want you to understand when a system is integrated properly, where does it integrate? So we look at this. Of course, internally within the accounts payable system, we can decide as I put data in, does it manually update or does it automatically update? And then notice the magic word interface right there. I'm looking at this in accounts payable, and information from accounts payable is going to be sent to billing, to cash management, to equipment, to general ledger, to job cost, and to property management. Do you want those interfaces turned on? Do you want those interfaces to actually pass information? When I turn the interface on, it simply means this application can read information it needs from the other application. If I want this system to pass information from accounts payable into these applications, yes, I'm going to allow it to create those entries. And of course, within each one of these, I can determine whether I want the system to automatically post those transactions or to do it manually. In today's world, most people will run automatic. There's not a particular reason not to run automatic because the correction routines are the same either way. So my point is that there's a lot of data that can flow a lot of directions, and if it flows correctly, your life gets much easier. You get to do more tasks in a shorter period of time using a fully integrated system. Now, let's talk about project management for a minute. And I was going to try and keep this at 30 minutes. We're going to run a few minutes over. So within project management, you know, we live in a world where transmittals, correspondence logs, drawing logs, meeting minutes, so on and so on, are pretty standard. And you'll see a lot of people who generate these via Word and Excel and so on. But in a fully integrated system, I'm able to look at information like meeting minutes, and I am fully integrated with a job cost list coming from my job, or an address book that shows me all of the various companies or people I'm dealing with. Let's look at this by company, and all the companies that are in my sphere of influence. So again, that's a fairly simple integration point, but very important to your productivity, that I don't have to type each person's name in each time they attend a meeting here. Earlier I mentioned other integration points. I'm in project management right here. And guess what? Contracts. Got to set it up so that I get paid. Commitments, purchase orders and subcontractors I'm working with. I'm in project management. I need to see that information here, but this information is also going to flow through into the rest of the accounting system. Earlier I mentioned our ability to create change orders, but in reality what you want is an integrated process, and that information flows from one location to another. And when I bring up a change request, I can see things. If I set this up earlier, probably be easier to see. Oh, if I find the right job, there we go. We can look at this And this is a request for a change, which we will in fact turn into a change order. In a fully integrated environment, we want to do some things like maybe update our job estimate. Maybe we've already done the work and we want to make sure that we integrate the budget for this new change request right into the budgets that were set up originally. Or we may in fact want to integrate the detail here, of which contract item in our contracts, if that's the right button, we're going to update, or whether we're going to create new contract items, okay? When is response due? Things of that nature. So what you want to do is have that piece of information touched one time and flow properly. Even though I'm working on a change request here, I can be updating components in the rest of the system. We close all of that up, come back here. From a change request, we can drive a change order, which in fact will generate, and we'll open, let's go ahead and open this one up. And if I come over here to print, what we will see is a change order that is generated. And because that change order is generated, it is sending entries over into our billing systems I mentioned earlier. So I have an integrated document from our project management that's tied to dollars and cents, which are stored inside of our system, which have flowed to all of the correct places, including, last but not least, down to our subcontractors. So I don't have to rekey information. I can pull up a commitment change order, a subcontractor purchase order that we've made modifications to. So very, very important to have those integration points, including another point is subcontractor compliance. You know, we need to track all kinds of information, and that information doesn't simply reside in one application. We need information from project management, we need information from accounts payable, we need information from job costs to track everything from insurance to certified payroll compliance to hazmat training and so on. So again, totally integrated system is what's going to make your life significantly easier and make you more productive and put more money in your pocket at the end of the day. Now, that all being said, I'm going to bring back up my, did I close the PowerPoint? I may have. Bring back up the PowerPoint, go to the last page, and if you've got any questions, you can feel free to direct them at myself or Tim, and we'll be glad to answer any questions, have somebody get in touch with you. Appreciate your time today. Hope you have a great weekend. If we can help you in any way,